Today I'll talk about strength endurance and how to be able to maximize it with your training. Hey guys, welcome to MotoFit TV, episode number 28. Today's topic that I'm going to be talking about with race training is strength and strength endurance and the difference between those. So a while ago, I might even put the link below for you in the comments. A while ago I wrote an article about strength and strength endurance, a blog post, okay, and it talked about developing different types of strength. Now, this is something a lot of riders and racers get mixed up with when they're tackling their training. Now, there's a lot of information out there in terms of training, but what you have to be able to know is you have to be able to know that that information that's out there is directed at a specific marketplace or a specific user. So something you read from Men's Health is going to be very different to something that you read in, say, a motocross magazine. It's going to be very different to what you read in a triathlete magazine or triathlon magazine. All those different training methods are going to be very different and have different results. Although they may all increase endurance, they're increasing different types of endurance, but they don't tell you that in there. They give you the base information. So majority of the information out there in the marketplace is based on body composition, because not everyone races motocross, not everyone does motorsport, not everyone really cares about performance training. They just want to look great. They want to go to the beach, they want to have the six-pack abs, they want to be able to wear the bikini, and that's what majority of the population wants from their training. So majority of the information that's surrounded by you, the content you read, is based on getting people there. That doesn't mean that just because you've got a good body composition, that automatically that's going to help you with your riding and racing. They're two different things, okay? Two different categories. So what I wanted to talk about is the concept of endurance. So most of you would have seen, you have like the rep scheme chart, okay, which does the rounds here and there. So you have like your reps from 2 to 5 is working on maximal strength. Then you have your reps at 12 is for hypertrophy. And then you have your sets at 15 to 20, which is based on endurance. Okay, now, although that is true to a degree, okay, you can't take that at face value and apply that to your training. Okay, you can't go, okay, I need strength endurance, I'm going to do 15 to 20 reps. So many riders and racers I speak to are in that 15, 20 rep range. They're trying to use lighter weights for more reps to build strength endurance. Now, what you need to be able to remember is that strength will build strength endurance in the initial stages of training. Using that rep scheme chart, that in terms of endurance, you're using that for an elite athlete or someone who's been doing a lot of training for years and years that's built up a strong base, then you can start to work on that endurance. But for all of you, your main focus should be on, and this goes for everyone, okay, because you're not weightlifters, you're not power lifters, you're not Olympic lifters, you're motocross racers. So everyone will be in that category, whether you're a factory rider, an MX Nationals racer, or a club level racer. We're all focusing our attention on strength. We need to get stronger. Now, the reason for that, the reason for developing that strength is that building maximal strength increases your strength endurance automatically, simultaneously, okay? Especially in those initial stages of training, especially when you're not at that elite level Olympic lifting or powerlifting or any other types of sports. So what we want to be able to do is we want to focus on getting stronger. Now, the reason that we do that is, think about this. Think about, let's say we have an example here. We've got John, who is squatting 50 kilos, okay? How many times, if John can only squat 50 kilos once, how many times do you feel he'd be able to squat a 20 kilo bar? Okay, so have a rough number, write it down, keep it in your head, whatever it is. So it might be about, say, maybe, let's say 10 reps. Okay, let's say you can do 10 reps at 20 kilos. Now, if John does the right type of training, we get him a shit ton stronger over the coming months, he puts in all the work, he commits to his training, does all the right things, and now we double his squat and we get his squat from 50 kilos to 100 kilos. How many times do you feel he'd then be able to squat the 20 kilo bar? Okay, obviously it's going to be a lot more than 10. The number's going to be much higher than 10. So what we've done there is we've just improved his strength endurance. He can now squat that 20 kilo bar a lot more than what he could before, but we haven't even done 15 to 20 rep sets. We focused on building his overall squat, building his maximal strength, because increasing your maximal strength automatically increases your endurance. Okay, So that's why we need to be able to focus on developing overall strength, because that's going to maximize our endurance. Once we've done that, we then need to be able to look, okay, sweet, I understand that. What's the best way to be able to maximize my overall strength? Now this comes in different categories for different riders and racers, or different people that are at different stages with their training. Now, although the building maximal strength is from say 3 to 5 reps, okay, or 2 to 3 reps, depending on what chart you look at, is on the lower rep side of things, that's more than likely for majority of the people watching this video is not going to be useful for you. Because when you're in those initial stages of training, you're new to weight training, okay, or you haven't had that coaching, the support, programming, implementation side with your training over the years, there's things there that we need to be able to correct, that we need to be able to fix. Now, one of the things that you will benefit from the most is actually developing movement patterns. I read the other day on, might have been a blog post from someone, might have been some research, I can't remember specifically where I got it, but they were saying that the neural pattern, so in other words, the motor pattern that you develop, the movement of moving your body in a specific order, in a specific way, okay, at a specific time, is actually developed more in the initial weeks of training. It's not strength that you're actually building. So in other words, to clear that up a little bit, what it means is that those initial weeks of training, the initial stages of proper strength training, most of the development is just coming from, most of the strength gains is coming from just your body learning how to move, becoming more efficient at the movement. It's not actual strength itself. That comes a little bit later on. It takes a little bit more time. So what we need to be able to make sure is that, okay, we're in that stage. We need to be able to make sure that we are developing that motor pattern as best we can. The best way to develop that motor pattern is by doing more repetitions. So what my recommendation is working on, say, sets of 12, because this is going to allow you to be able to hit more reps and be able to get stronger a lot quicker, because we're working on that movement pattern a lot more often. So for each and every set, we're doing, say, 48 reps, okay, for every session, rather than working on sets of 2 where we're doing maybe 12 reps a session. So you can imagine how much better you're going to progress with that sets of 12. Moving down to the lower reps is something that we can work on later on down the track, but first you need to be able to set that strong base, okay? Be able to develop those motor patterns, be able to have efficient movement, and then you can work on moving to the heavier weights. Otherwise, the other thing that's going to happen is when you start lifting in the 2 to 5 rep range, you're going to start to get injuries, okay? Because when you're lifting heavy weights, everything needs to be bang on. If you don't have everything bang on, you're going to have sore knees, sore shoulders, sore ankles, sore hips, sore lower back, sore everything. So you need to correct those things first. So it's all about having a look at where you are. So like just from what I've spoken about today, we've gone from looking at strength endurance, okay, to then thinking, okay, we've got to now go do lower reps, to now going, okay, we've got to do sets of 12. Because there's so many different variables there. It's not as easy as just grabbing a chart or grabbing something and then being able to take that and apply that to your sport. It needs to be in context with where you're at. Context in terms of your level of fitness, your level of strength, okay, and your level of ability, and how well you progress with the training as well. Some people pick up the movements really quick and they can progress quicker. Some other people like me, when I first started training, take ages to be able to correct movements and have those correct movement patterns and move properly, and it takes a while, okay? So it's all about having a system there, but also when you're taking information, it needs to be in context with where you're at and where you're working towards, okay? You can't just take generalized information and then try and apply it, because it's not going to work, okay? If you're in that 15 to 20 rep range at the moment, you're wasting your time, okay? If you're in the 5 rep range at the moment and you're only new to training, you haven't maximized your strength gains, okay? So in other words, you're not squatting, say, like around the 150 mark, deadlifting around the 200 mark, overhead pressing around the 80 kilo mark. They're just rough benchmarks. If you're not around those numbers, then you need to be able to focus on strength. You need to work on getting stronger. And most of you won't be at those numbers purely because you're not powerlifters, you're not strength athletes, you're motocross racers, okay? Or motorsport racers, road racers, trials riders, whatever sport you're from. You need to be able to focus on strength, okay, and you need to be able to make sure you have the right system to be able to get you there as well. So the overall game is working on getting stronger. The stronger you are, the better your strength endurance is. So you don't need to be doing an hour of running, an hour of riding, or an hour of cycling, an hour of swimming, okay? The endurance comes from the strength component, not from the cardio and conditioning. So I guess that's our topic for today is strength, okay? Focusing your attention on getting stronger and being able to have a prescription there, having a set system set up to be able to help you with your training. So for you guys today, just for our MotoFit TV viewers, for this week I've got 5 strategy calls that I'm going to be able to give away. So in other words, what we can do is we can sit down, we can spend a bit of time together, mapping out your training, have a look at what you've been doing with your strength, have a look at your conditioning, have a look at nutrition, have a look at where you are in terms of race fitness, have a look at where you want to be, and then put together a prescription to be able to get you there and set up that system and actually make sure the stuff that you're doing is working and is what you need to be doing, okay? Not something that's just been grabbed out of a magazine or some free shit off the internet, okay? Actually having a proper system there. So if that's something you're interested in, I've got 5 spots. I'll put the link in the comments below and you can fill out the form and we can hook up a spot. Otherwise, send me a private message. So I'll speak to you guys soon. See ya.